Okay, Angie, just tell me why you're so excited about Hamilton. There's so many friends, my friends, they don't even know who Hamilton is, and you're so passionate about this guy. And every time we're talking about him, you're asking me to bring me something about Hamilton. Tell me more why he's um, so memorable for you.
I love Hamilton because he has a great story. Now, his story is he was an orphan. He lived in the
He was an what?
he was an orphan.
Orphan. Okay.
So, his mom passed away because they were both sick, and he fortunately survived, but his mom didn't. So she passed away, and then a hurricane hit where they used to live, and he was in the Caribbean. So a hurricane started coming by where he lived, and the way he got out of the hurricane and survived was he wrote his way out.
He
Um,
wrote his what?
he wrote his way out. That's actually
Okay.
one of the lyrics in one of the songs describing his life. So he writes and writes, and he makes enough money to go all the way into New York, still the United States, but he's in New York right now, and he uh, marries a wealthy woman. Her father is okay. So there's this man who's the father of Peggy, Elizabeth, and Angelica Schuyler, and they are all very wealthy people. And so Alexander is a very poor person, and so basically he ends up with Elizabeth Schuyler, even though Angelica Schuyler also loves him. Now, this was a very tough, kind of,
Decision.
yeah, decision for
Mm-hmm.
them. Even though, so basically, Angelica met Alexander, and they were like, "Oh, I love you, yeah, yeah." And so then Angelica introduces him to Eliza, which she thinks now is a big mistake. But they kind of, Angelica um, considers herself like also in love with Alexander, even though later in the story Hamilton is married to who is it, Eliza. So basically, um, let's see. Hamilton meets this man, and they both work out pretty good. And then he meets some other people: Lawrence, Lafayette, and Hercules Mulligan. Now, the man he met at first was, let's see, Aaron Burr, which was a very well-known man at the time. So he gets with these people, and he starts fighting in the American Revolution. And see, he now the thing is, America was trying to Great Britain were fighting because people from Great Britain were going over to America and discovering that, hey, if we go over here, we won't have to pay the taxes the king puts on us, and this is a very important moment in our life, because otherwise we would be controlled by Britain now. But
So Alexander Hamilton, he made a history because
he fought in the
he
American Revolution.
yes, and the reason why he excites you is because he is
He's like a very like powerful man, and he fought, and he had a great backstory. So he's kind of like one of those people who reflects, hey, if this man can do it, anybody can do it. Um, and then something that's not about, well, it's sort of about him, is the musical is just amazing. There's so many amazing songs in there, and so many like great different characters, which just brings life to the musical. I think it's probably the best one out there. And actually, the entire musical is only song. There is no talking in the musical other than song.
okay. Angie, what did he do with Mr. Washington?
Let's see, George Washington. King George
Didn't
Washington.
he help him?
So, yeah, sort of, not really. Let's see. I get This is a really bad problem for me. I keep on getting George Washington and Thomas Jefferson mixed up, but basically they were kind of like enemies.
Uh huh.
And then George Washington was like president, so this was kind of a bad thing for Hamilton. Later in the story, though, Hamilton is like, I think he's running for president, but then Thomas Jefferson wins because there is some information that leaked out. So this was a part in the musical that was not so age appropriate. He, although he was married to Eliza, this woman named, oh, let's see, I can't remember. I think it was like Mariah Reynolds or something, yeah. And they basically are, so, okay, it's like Hamilton is married to Eliza, and then he's also seeing Mariah Reynolds over here. And Eliza doesn't know about that, and so the information leaks out, and everybody's like, oh, this man ain't good. And this was a very sad moment because I, like, for my first time going into the musical, I was like, how could you do that? But no,
Yeah, but politics is politics. So
yeah.
now, question for you: how Alexander Hamilton was killed?
So the guy I was talking about, Aaron Burr,
Uh-huh.
he met up with him, okay, but later in the story,
Uh-huh.
they aren't the best of friends, and this is because of something that happened in their politics. But basically, Hamilton says, well, if we're gonna fight, then let's fight. So they take it out to a battlefield, and now, back then, how they would kind of solve arguments is, hey, why don't we shoot each other? Um, so basically, they have them out on a battlefield like this far apart. Well, not that far apart, but like long ways away. This is just my representation. They both have guns, and they count down 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, and when they get to 1, they shoot each other.
Oh.
Yeah. So now Aaron Burr has shot Hamilton, and he dies. Now, this is actually kind of like, I would say this is a father-son moment because earlier in the story, just a couple, like a little bit earlier in the story, Eliza and Hamilton have had a child, and he grows up and has a fight with someone because they call Alexander Hamilton, like this, like this rude name, and they keep on fighting, and so, let's see, I think it's Philip. Yeah, it's Philip Schuyler is the son, and he decides, hey, I want to fight this man. So basically, they take it out on the battlefield, and that man shoots Philip before the end of the countdown. So they visit Philip, and he's not doing well. He was in the hospital. He dies, but then later in the story, Hamilton dies. So I kind of think they're both somewhere being friends. They're like, hey, well, I mean, they were. Now everybody's up there in that time.
Hey, Angie.
So yeah.
So answer a last question for me. If you want to take qualities, like the best qualities of Alexander Hamilton, and you want to master them and implement those qualities in your life, what those qualities will be?
He was a fighter.
Why, right?
He was.
Fighter for
He made
human
America.
rights.
What?
For human rights.
Yeah, sort of like America. He was like he made America basically. Well, he was one of the people that made America. This isn't towards him, but this is towards the musical. The singing. He's just Lin-Manuel Miranda is the actor for him in the musical,
Right.
and I love the musical a lot. And then probably that he is like
Determined.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
And
Like
persistent.
he has something
Vision.
and he goes straight.
He has
for
a
it.
vision.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
he's like yeah.
Awesome.
And he's
Angie,
handsome.
thank you. You're amazing. I love you. Now we learned something about Hamilton.